everywhere. Artem is technology architect for 5 years, drives successfully several big Sitecore delivery projects, promotes DevOps best practices in Sitecore data and analytics, and Azure cloud migration projects. So, Artem, the stage is yours. You also have 40 minutes, so feel free to use them.
Hi everyone. Thank you, Lana, for introduction. I think I need to introduce myself now as a booty MacBook face. So I will share my screen and then I will start presenting. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Still
Okay, great.
waiting for the screen.
So I'm sharing my screen now. So I hope you can see agenda now, and we can start.
I don't see the screen.
Oh, let me share one more time.
I will see you only.
What happened?
Okay, now it's there.
Okay. So you should see a agenda page now. Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So Tamas already a little bit mentioned that containers, like it's a little bit related to the previous topic, and possibility to run locally your whole Sitecore application, which we a little bit discussed 2 sessions, like 2 meetups ago, I would say. This time, I would propose you to do a little bit step back and talk about overall containers, Docker, Kubernetes, and its relations to Sitecore. And this agenda will I will a little bit explain what is containers. Maybe someone of you don't know it, and then few words about Docker, and then go next till the last, and then at the end we will have 10 minutes live demo. Hope everything will work. So let's start then. Containers. So maybe you hear for last 3 years, maybe 2 years about containers, Dockers, and so on. But why it's so popular? Why it's start to be used everywhere in development environments, production environments, and Sitecore as well, as we know from discussions with Sitecore team, that their focus actually to go forward is microservices and containers. So they will continue to move that way. Why it's so? What is the reason? What are those benefits that containers gives developers or business? Like both of them actually. So first of all, portability, as you can see. It means that container itself, it's a way to abstract application instance from the actual host operating system. It means that you can emulate in your local development environment same conditions that will be in production. So your application will be completely same. You don't need to do any tweaks, any patches. So you run your container application in a container locally and as a developer, and then it goes same way, exactly same way to production. Then scalability, take into account the latest trend to microservices and stateless applications. You can multiply because you have portability, you have container. You can multiply amount of instances for your application as much as you need, if it's already architectured in a proper way. But scalability itself really simple. You provision a second instance of your application and it works. Yeah, we will go deep in details with like about examples later. Then faster deployment. As you go with microservice architecture and containers, it means that your every piece of your application don't need to be anymore like big. And every part of your application works fast and deploys fast. So you can, for example, deploy your 10 parts or 10 microservices in parallel, and you will save time. Then, if we go to high productivity, um, it comes from fast deployment and microservice architecture. Because so first of all, like small piece of application will work itself faster, and second, it relates to rapid development. Means that if you don't have any difference between your local application and application in production, it means that you will have less mistakes and you will receive fast feedback. So you will be able to test and verify a lot of stuff in your development environment without the need to really see how it works in production. So it also speed up the development process. Then enhanced security. So like containerization concept itself already been used in multiple environments, and security and isolation works really well there, because again, your container it's not anymore application in your operation system that somehow might be impacted by other applications. It's isolated container. So more isolation means more security or better security. Continuity. So it means that you don't anymore have in dependency, or you have less dependency because you have smaller pieces. You have less dependency between different parts. Like again, if we talk about microservice architecture, your small part might fail, and but your overall application, the whole service might still work. So splitting big monolith to microservice architecture provides this benefit. And then the last one, but not least, it's easy management with tools that allow you to orchestrate containers. It's really simple, visual, and easy to orchestrate them. And with such tools as OpenShift or Kubernetes, they are already industrial best practices, I would say. With those additional orchestration tools, you can easily manage your containers. And in first meetup, we also discussed Docker, that also you can orchestrate this all locally with just a Docker itself. So like a lot of tools that allow you to easily manage all these containers and configure them, verify them, check how they are working, and so on. Yeah, let's go next to Docker. A little bit of repeat what we discussed previously. So this is how Docker looks like and how it works. And so Docker is one of the most popular runtime environments to run containers. So it actually implements this containerization concept that you can run your application isolated in your local dev environment or somewhere in cloud, or it might be standalone virtual machine, or it might be more complex setup. It might be different kind of PS services. So now it's already, I would say that it's already a fact that it's a industry standard. Using Docker, because they're everywhere. So Docker containers supported by all possible providers, and you can use it almost everywhere. And one of the big benefit of Docker also that it's platform independent. You can run it on Linux or on Windows, on any data centers, on any cloud, on premise, whatever. So these all those benefits that we discussed in previous slide actually relates to Docker. So Docker, it's a implementation of this concept, containerization concept that allows to achieve all those benefits. And then we go next to Kubernetes. So Kubernetes, it's one of the best and one of the most popular orchestration systems or orchestration tools. And you can see here an example how Kubernetes itself works. So Kubernetes always has two parts. One part is control plane, which contains from scheduler, controller manager, AP server, and storage for secrets, for configurations, and so on. So this API server, it's actually something that heavily used in any dashboards, command line tools. So when we're using command line tool with Kubernetes, it actually calls this API server and then executes some command using it. Scheduler part, it's actually part that is responsible to place your application instances in your hosting pool. So like it's called scheduler. It's a already term for this, but what it does, it just puts the necessary application instance to whatever it should be. So according to selectors. And then controller manager, it's actually part that collects all data from hosting part itself, and then these can communicate with API server. So it collects monitoring results, it collects logs, everything that relates to orchestration itself. And this is an example here of one virtual machine inside Kubernetes. So as you can see, virtual machine or virtual machine set, like for simplicity here, it's just one virtual machine. It's isolated inside one virtual network. And then inside of virtual machine, it has kubelet, it has container runtime, it has kubeproxy, and then it has as much containers as we need. So these containers are actually your application instances. You will see in live demo today in more details how it looks like. And yeah, and your virtual machine might have connected Azure Disk or Azure Files, so actually additional storages if you need them. Yeah, so as you can see, Kubernetes is not that complex as you can think about it. Yeah, it's a tool that do its work. One of the really big benefits from Kubernetes, from my point, is that it just works. So in 99% cases, Kubernetes just works as it should work, and this is the best benefit from it. So when you need to use it, you run it, and it works as it should. Really stable, really good documented, a big community, also all time based on community feedback, new features. which is not always good, but the good thing is that you always can stay on your stable version with features you like, and you don't need to upgrade to the very latest version. So new features comes only in new versions. So yeah, you can stay in your stable version. Um, and then if you go to Sitecore specifically, we start to discuss this containerization and Docker already in a first meetup. But what actually those business benefits of using Sitecore with Kubernetes? And like as one of the adoption of this containerization and microservice architecture. So first of all, it's faster time to market. Um, it means that again, when you can, as a developer, test your container, which is isolated application instance, how it works, and then you can be confident that on a production environment it works same way. So you just need to configure values for your integrations. So you have really good confidence that your application will be same in production as in your instance, because you're packaging your containers have some version applied, and then if you use same version as in local development, you can be confident that this version works same way. Then second benefit, it's lower cost of operations. In many cases, infrastructure cost using Kubernetes lower than when you use, let's say, app services. So I think it's self-explained. So lower cost of infrastructure, always good for business. Then flexibility. So here flexibility means that your containers are itself not dependent on particular cloud vendor, and we will talk about it more. So till version 10, in most cases, Sitecore was tightly coupled with Microsoft ecosystem, and starting from version 10, it's not this way anymore. There were exception before as well, because we are all engineers, so we know that if you have hammer and screw, you always can adjust to your needs. But now from the version 10, it's officially cross-cloud. Means you don't need to use only Azure Cloud anymore. You can use on-premise providers, or you can use Google Cloud, or you can use Amazon Cloud. So flexibility here is really good point. I personally had multiple discussions, specifically in projects where for big enterprises, when the discussion starts, okay, we have really mature Amazon cloud support, and we have good partnership with them, and so on and so on. Can we run Sitecore in Amazon? So now it's not anymore a blocker. It's a good enough option to go to production. You even might have the case when, for example, your development environment might be in Amazon, and your production environment might be in Azure Cloud. From infrastructure risks or development risks, there are no anymore any issues, because with containers, if you have platforms that can support those containers, then you don't care. It can be run anywhere on any environment. Um, Reduce mean time to resolution. It comes uh, from the same concept that you are using same container version through all environments, and also you can easily back up any of your instances and then restore it on some staging environment. So take into account that your containers are immutable. You always can. So first of all, you can be confident that your containers that you've been using on some pre-production environment is the same containers that currently on production environment. And second, you can take your not working or I would say container that need investigations. You can always backup it, restore on a staging environment, and then investigate. And then last but not least, the one that I really like personally is that it forces high operation standards. In many projects, what I saw is that when operations or developers has access to production, they can do some modifications without really writing it down or like do proper notification, and or I would say follow the proper process, like it might be whatever process, but and then it impacts really high maintenance itself, because if you can, let's say, access your hosting virtual machine by RDP, by remote access, and then do some changes there because someone forcing you to do that. Yeah, it might introduce troubles in future, and I really like that with containers it's not that easy anymore to do that, and means that you have to follow the process anyway. So yeah, you need to investigate, build new container, release it to production, and then it will work. So not anymore fixing something on production directly. Maybe questions at this point? Let me check a chat. Maybe something not clear about Kubernetes or about Docker.
I think it's clear. Yeah.
Yeah, looks like no questions right now. So... Okay, let's go next. And then we go to something that I want to introduce to you today. It's a rancher. So, and yeah, from quiz you you saw the logo, so this is a correct logo for it. Yeah, what is Rancher, and why I want to introduce it to you? So Rancher, it's an open source tool that helps to manage different clusters, Kubernetes clusters, and on different environments. It means that you, as a business or as an operation team, whatever, you can manage all your clusters in one place. So in this example that I mentioned, actually, if you might have your staging environment, development environment in on-premise system or in AWS cloud, and then you might have your production system in Azure cloud, and then you can manage it in one place. You don't need to use different tools, like something from AWS, something from Azure cloud, something from other stuff, and you don't need even your cloud provider to support Kubernetes, because this tool actually installs Kubernetes and operates it when it's needed. So for those cloud providers that has Kubernetes already, it's using those adopted versions, like for Amazon it's EKS, for Azure it's AKS, and for those that don't have it, let's say it's your on-premise data center, it's using RKE, which is Rancher Kubernetes adoption for the same purpose. So actually your Kubernetes, but for any data center. So it just combines set of virtual machines and then operates it and orchestrates. So again, if we say about benefits, it's a deploy and monitor cluster on any infrastructure. So you don't really care about your cloud provider. And as you can see, Rancher supports multiple cloud providers with AKS. So as you can see here in the list, you can go and read more on Rancher page in details. Then it brings in on top some tools that makes all this even better. For example, you can configure security in central place. You can do monitoring and log analysis in one place, one centralized place. You can use mixed approaches, like with availability sets, with scale sets, and again, all this will be managed in one place. Also, as you can see here, Rancher supports different security and authentication providers. It means that you would not anymore stick to some particular one, which usually happens with cloud providers. Let's say if you are using Azure, you most probably you will use Azure AD. But here it enables and standardize the approach. You can integrate with different, let's say, security and authentication providers. So it makes cloud providers even better, because it provides additional standardized ways to integrate with security and authentication. Yeah, we already covered this centralized security policy. Management means that, yeah, again, you can easily compare security policies between different clouds and then adjust them if you need. So one tool really helps to make it easier. Then, yeah, I already mentioned integration with different authentication providers. Rancher also has own DNS integrated, so you don't need to care about C names, like custom C names. It's already from the box. And then all clusters has possibility to backup cluster and restore it. So here it's not about only your backup and restore your application, but also backup and restore your cluster. So you can backup and recover when needed your control plane, all configuration, and also it will be in one place. Store it in some one place or multiple places. Let's say it might be even geo-replicated in multiple places. But yeah, in general, it gives you built-in backup and recover opportunity. Like I also want to mention here, like built-in features on Rancher. It might be a little bit small for you, but I will name them all. So you can see and manage Kubernetes version. Again, different clouds in one place. You will be able to compare and see and upgrade. You don't need to know like cloud specific API. Rancher has also possibility to install in one click additional diagnostic tools and visual tools like Grafana. I will show it later today. It has also possibility to configure monitoring and alerting using Prometheus or using other providers. And then it has all Kubernetes built-in features like node pool management. It has also built-in container storage. You can provision new cluster from Rancher itself that I will show you in live demo. And also it has integration with, I think it should be GitLab as a continuous deployment tool. Yeah, we can go to live demo, I think. Yeah, so in live demo, I want to show you how you can. So this is like Rancher instance itself. In useful links, I put the link to a quick start with Rancher, so you can do experiments yourself, and it's really easy and fast forward to set up Rancher. In just 5 minutes, and you don't need to have a lot of resources for that. So your usual developer subscription would really fit for it. So what we will do now, I will create a new cluster. So I want to go with new cluster on Azure AKS. I need to specify here some details that I will specify. My tenant ID is here. My client ID is here. Yeah, we'll put here. Let's say North Europe. It doesn't really matter. Then I will also put my secret here. Yeah, so secret anyway will expire, so there are no risks. And my subscription ID, let me do that. my subscription ID. So next I will authenticate with this. Okay, good. I can choose here Kubernetes version. I will just put latest one. Then as prefixes, so let's say Sitecore Baltic Meetup Rancher. Monitoring. I don't need it right now. Yeah, let's disable it. Maybe it will be faster. What else? Yeah, so I will also put it here like this, and then amount of nodes. I think 2 is enough for me. Disk size not really important. And then SSH-key, I also have it in my prepared here. Okay. What cluster name? Okay, I didn't put a cluster name. Azure example. I think this is all. Yeah. Yeah, you see that I have already several examples. While it's working, I will also show you interesting stuff. So it's provisioning now. So first of all, you can always connect your existing Kubernetes cluster, which is good. So when you do add cluster, you can see here possibility to connect other clusters. And it's actually really straightforward. For now, I will just create it. It will not do anything. Yeah. So to be able to integrate Rancher with your cluster, you actually need to register it first, and then copy this command, go to your cluster, and then run this command. And that's all. So it's really straightforward. It's really easy to do that. One of the stuff that I also want to show you is I mentioned additional monitoring and visual tools, and I want to show you this one. So you can see here, it's actually Grafana on one of my clusters. Yeah, and also it's really straightforward. You just enable it and it installs, and then everything in place. So as you can see, yeah, for example, this chart. So you can see it in a really visual way here that, yeah, you can see how many total cores do you have, what is your current usage of memory and of CPU. You can then switch to different dashboards. For example, a networking cluster here, or what else? Yeah, I would take maybe networking pods, or let's say computer resource pods. Yeah, so you can see, so this is like additional monitoring tool, and you can see like bandwidths, receive bandwidths, transmit bandwidths. So a lot of useful information, and so you actually can install it to any of your clusters, and then use this full power of Grafana for Kubernetes. Yeah. So this is one of the examples. Let's check. Do we have already? And yeah, and another one, which is a standard one, is Cluster Explorer. You can switch, like when you open cluster, let's say this one. Let me check. It's still in provisioning.
Artem,
Yes.
5 minutes left.
Yes.
possible.
I think it's enough. Yeah. Anyway, I have a backup, so if it will not, it might take a little bit more time than I expected with cluster. Yeah, let me check. Anyway, I have an example already prepared. Yeah, I see that it's provisioning. Yeah, you see it's provisioning, so it's in progress. It might just take a little bit time for that. Yeah, so I will continue. So what is good is that like in Rancher also this dashboard integrated. So when you see the cluster, in this case, for example, I will open this one. You can easily open Cluster Explorer, and then in Cluster Explorer you will see this stuff. So actually in Cluster Explorer you see everything that is inside your cluster, inside like all details you need actually. For example, like my custom AKS, and then if I go to deployments, yeah, I see, for example, here my sample application, like Hello World applications hosted here. Yeah, we don't have time to go it through end to end, but I will finalize with just few examples. So inside Rancher. So here, yeah, so you see it's updating now. So okay, actually we can try. Yeah, so it's active. So it's working now. It's working now. Good. So what I would do, I will quickly set up a new application here. So I go to project namespace. I want to create here a new project. I will call it just a demo. And then I will also create inside this also namespace called demo. So what I want to do now, I want to create two applications and then in my cluster, and then route them to and then be able to open them from my one public IP, but with different routing rules. So what I would do, I would click here. So I have prepared YAML for those applications. I click import YAML. Then I copy my YAML that I prepared in advance here. Import. Okay, good. Then I do same for second application. And it's actually same application, but with a little bit different configuration settings. I put it in the same application here. So it's deploying, which is good. And then next step, what I would do, I would go back to my cluster and here. Yeah, and I will launch one command. So I prepared it as well. Hope Lana will not kill me.
Unless if we can stay longer, it's fine.
Yeah, so it will be quick. So two commands. So this now I want to add ingress, so load balancer for my applications. Okay, yeah, I forgot to change my namespace just to demo. Quick fix here. Yep, working. Nice. Yeah, so it's done. So as you can see, it also supports kubectl command line, which is like main way how to operate cluster with command line. And the last action I need to do, I actually need to configure my routing. So I go back to my Azure example, go to load balancing, and here I will also do it from YAML. So last step, and I will deploy it to my one. Yeah, so namespace, I can fix it, but yeah, I configured that it anyway will be applied. So you can see here, I specified several routes, hello world 1, hello world 2, and then default route here, import. Yeah, so this will be applied really fast, I hope. Okay, did I click default? Yeah, I lost my applications. Okay, I lost my applications. Yeah, I don't have time to verify what's wrong, but the actual result will be like this. So it's another example that I just prepared before our meetup start to have a backup option. So I will show you that it changes. So when I put here different route, you can see that it changes to different one. Yeah, so this is it. Yeah, so I think I'm done. I almost was able to cover it in 10 minutes. Yeah, most probably I did some mistakes. Maybe I didn't choose right namespace when I was deploying. But yeah, I'm done here with my live demo. And again, I want to remind you about useful links. So here are useful links. You can read about Sitecore Kubernetes prepared itself. And so you will see something like here, there, the package that contains Kubernetes files like these that you can use to deploy Sitecore in Kubernetes. Then this is actually the same package, but from GitHub. And then if we talk about here, it's Sitecore with detailed description about containers they prepared. And the last link is actually quick start, Rancher quick start that I mentioned before, that you can use yourself, really quick and straightforward. You can try it and you will see that it's really easy to do. Okay, I think I'm done with my part. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Actually, we run out of time, but let's maybe have some couple of minutes for those who wanted to ask questions. Do you have any questions, guys? I will place in the chat the links which Artem shared right now. Looks like no questions. Artem, something is with your camera. You're watching not to us. And you're muted.
Yeah, it's not with my camera, it's with my second monitor because it's here and I'm watching to it all time. Sorry for that.
Yes, we were wondering what's wrong there.
Yeah. Because it's my second screen.
Okay. Looks like no questions. Then Basically, I wanted to thank you, thank Artem to you, and thanks, guys, for participating in this meetup. Thank you for staying with us. And please follow us on social media to keep track on the next events. Next meetup is planned for autumn, and we will again prepare some interesting topics and activities. So, will you join next meetup? Please like in the chat. See you soon. Have a nice summer, and don't forget to drink lots of water. And don't forget to enjoy the sun while we have it here.